Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline. This week, Israel celebrates 75 years of independence. And to mark this remarkable occasion, we came to tell you a secret story. The story of young people who risked their own lives to build this place, the Mahon Ayalon, which was a secret and illegal ammunition factory. And that was fundamental for Israel's victory in the War of Independence. So everyone, today is really going to be very exciting and tense here. So if you are ready, let's get started. Nowadays, Israel is a modern, vibrant, joyful, safe, and strong country. But it wasn't always like this. In the last 100 years, the people and the land of Israel have suffered a lot, and they had to fight hard to survive. And today's story begins in the year 1917, when England invaded and conquered all the land of Israel and the region. At that time, the Jews had already started to return to their land, and they began to build schools, hospitals, entire cities, and even universities here. All of this was driven by the dream of, in the near future, declaring the independence of the State of Israel. But the British didn't like the idea of Jewish independence here at all. And that's why, as early as 1922, they started to prohibit Jewish immigration, the construction of new cities, and all the preparations for the future state of Israel. And even during the Holocaust, when millions of Jews were being murdered in Europe, they continued to prohibit Jewish immigration to Israel. But the Jews decided to ignore the British restrictions and prohibitions. And they continued immigrating to Israel, but this time illegally, and kept building their future country, and also preparing for the war that was to come. Because everyone knew that on the day Israel declared its independence, all the Arab countries in the region would declare war. And all of this had to be done secretly and in secret. Why? Because the British would arrest and sentence to death any Jew who participated in these activities. And unfortunately, many people lost their lives in this way. And it was precisely in this secretive and dangerous environment that the story of Mahon Ayalon begins. And that's why we came here today. Come with me to discover the secrets of this place. On a summer night in 1945, Yosef Avidar, one of the commanders of the Haganah, a secret Jewish group, arrives. And he arrives to meet a group of young Jews and tells them that he has a secret mission, which would be extremely dangerous, that they would be putting their lives at risk, but the work they would do would be essential for the creation of the State of Israel. But that he couldn't tell them what that mission would be until they accepted. And these young people are going to get together and have a vote, and the vote will be unanimous. All of them will accept this risk because they knew they would be serving the greater good. And Yosef tells them that preparations for the war and for the future army had already begun. They had already started producing some weapons, but they didn't have ammunition. They didn't have any bullets to put in the guns they had. And that's why here, exactly here at Mahon Ayalon, would be the first and only ammunition factory in what would become Israel. And when they hear that this illegal factory would be here, they are shocked and surprised. Why? Because right next to here is a city called Rehovot, which had a huge British headquarters. Also, right behind here are the British train tracks with hundreds of soldiers. The British look and say, are we really going to do this right in an area surrounded by enemies? And they say, yes, if we do this right under the noses of the British, they won't suspect a thing. We're going to do it in the last place they would ever expect the factory to be. And it's precisely in this location, surrounded by enemies, that this institute will be built. But it's divided. The underground part was the illegal and secret ammunition factory. But up here above ground, it was a small town, a kibbutz. And here, for anyone who passed by, it was normal life. And even the people who lived up here didn't know what was happening down here underground. Let's take a walk now and get to know a little bit of this city. And now we're going to step inside this town's laundry together. But it has many secrets inside. Come with me. Why was this laundry built? The first reason is because of the noise. If there is a munitions factory here underground, the factory makes a lot of noise. So to avoid drawing attention, they are going to install an extremely noisy washing machine here. And this machine masks the real noise of the ammunition making machines down here. But there's just one problem. The city is very small. There aren't enough clothes to keep this machine running for 10 or 12 hours a day. And the British would find it strange, the people would find it strange if it was running without any clothes. And that's why they decide to open the laundry to also serve the nearby towns. And the hospital in Rehovot, which is very close by, sends their lab coats and clothes here to be washed, and that's why they were very busy. And that's why the machine was running all the time. But everyone who worked here knew that everything had to be done perfectly. The clothes had to be well washed, well folded, well ironed. Why? Because they didn't want anyone to come here and complain. Since there was another secret here. So here you can see on the shelves, they handled the clothes with all the care in the world. And the work here was so well done that the British who were nearby heard that this place had the best laundry in the whole region. And they start washing here British uniforms. But what the British didn't imagine was that there was a secret passage here. This was the way into the ammunition factory. Every day, 45 people would come in through here to go down to the factory. In 3 minutes, 45 people would go down. The people from the Ayalon Institute asked me not to tell you this secret, where the secret passage is. That's why I'm going to show the whole laundry room here, 360 degrees. And I want you to guess and leave your answer here in the comments. Where, after all, is this secret passage? Let's see if you can guess. And through the secret passage that's somewhere around here, we're not going down today. We're going to leave now and get to know this place a little better. And then, yes, we'll go down together into the underground levels of this secret factory. Imagine that for most of the city's population, this place was simply a laundry. They saw the clothes hanging here, and they didn't suspect that anything was happening here. The people who worked in the underground factory had to keep everything completely secret. even from their husbands, their wives, their children, from everyone. Because once again, if they were caught by the British, they would all be killed by hanging. And that's why they created a secret code. They called everyone who didn't know about the factory a giraffe. Because the giraffe is a very tall animal and can see for miles and miles and miles. It can see everything that's far away. But it usually doesn't look to see what's right under its feet. So here were the giraffes, the population that didn't know what was happening. And the people who kept this secret, and for the secret to stay well preserved, many things had to be done. Here is the laundry room with the secret passage. But that's not all. You can see there's a chimney. Why? Because an underground factory needs ventilation. So this chimney here was to bring clean air into the factory. But you also need a chimney to take the air out. Dirty and smoky. And the other chimney is right here next to it. Let's check out the other building that holds a secret. The other building they built is this one, a bakery. Why? The chimney in this place helped with the ventilation system. But there's another reason why this place was built. It's precisely because of this gigantic 10-ton oven. It was built to hide another secret passage down here. The secret passage in the laundry was used for everyday purposes. It was a small entrance through which people could come and go quickly. But the entrance here was huge, and it was built so the equipment could be lowered. The huge machines that were used in the production of ammunition. And we're going in through here today, so come with me. Now we're really going down into the underground section of this secret factory. Are you as excited as I am? Let's go. Let's go down and discover this secret. It's 8 meters underground, and here we are, we've already arrived at the factory. Look how amazing this place is. But the first question that comes up is, where did all this equipment come from? Because the British forbade any Jewish activity related to the military, ammunition production, and weapons manufacturing. So where are they going to get 12 machines to produce bullets? That happened thanks to Yehuda Arazi. He, in 1938, years and years before the start of this factory, goes to Poland, to the city of Warsaw. And there he manages to secretly buy 12 machines. It will take 4 years for him to manage to smuggle these machines to Israel. But thanks to his effort, these machines arrive, and then the construction of this factory will begin here. And now we're going to understand how these machines worked. The first step in manufacturing is to take these brass plates and cut out discs, which is exactly what this machine does. So they had thousands and then millions of these little discs here, and this machine turns the discs into small casings. And these machines here, what they did, take the small casing and expand it until it gets to this size. And when they bought the machines in Poland, they thought they had bought the right machines. But when they get here, and see that this is too big for the Israeli weapons. And that's why they have to add one more step. They would take this part here and put it in this machine, and that way they could cut it exactly to the size they needed. But what I want to show you is the reality of this place, how people felt. Come with me, we're going to turn on the machines. I want you to feel a little bit of what it was like to work in here. Just a second. Guys, right now there are 2 fully functioning machines running. Back then there were 12, and you could already hear how loud it was in here. So imagine what it was like to work in here. People were not only putting their own lives at risk, but also the lives of their families. They worked here amid a literally hellish din. And to try to lift their spirits a bit and mask the noise a little, they spent the day here singing. But it wasn't just the noise that bothered them. The place wasn't very well lit. And there was no air conditioning, there was a small ventilation system, but the place was hot, suffocating, and noisy. I mean, being here could even make people physically ill. But they did all this, putting their health and their lives at risk because they knew they were fighting for a just cause. Just so you have an idea, when they are called to work here, the Holocaust was still happening. The factory will operate in the years following the Holocaust, when the people of Israel had been decimated. Instead of falling into despair, sitting down and crying, they rise up to fight, to strive even harder for the independence of the state of Israel. And that's why I find this place so impressive, but there are more secrets inside. So let's go further into the factory. And in the horrible working conditions that existed here, most of these people didn't get any sunlight. And they started to get sick and pale. And that would be extremely suspicious because these people said they worked in the fields and in agriculture, and they came home pale every day. People would start to get suspicious, and that's why this special room was created here. Let's go inside. People would sit here and take in this light to get a tan, also for their health, but also to hide that they spent every day underground. And one of the crazy things about this place is that not only was ammunition produced here underground, but it was also tested here. Look, here's a shooting range. Because they needed to test the ammunition to make sure it would be effective when, in the future, it was used in the war. So guys, they used to test the bullets here at a distance of just a few meters from where the gunpowder and all the flammable material were kept. But again, they didn't have a choice. But the laundry room right above us couldn't muffle the sound of gunshots. And that's why they knew exactly when the British trains passed by. And the train was loud, it made the whole ground shake. And when the train passed, at that exact moment, they would test the bullets here. And after an extremely tiring, exhausting day here inside this factory, they needed to go back to their families and to their city, who didn't know what was happening, and that's why they needed to clean themselves. Since there were a lot of metal residues on their clothes, they would stop here. And there was a person whose job was to inspect, to remove it from their hair, to remove it from their clothes, and especially from their shoes. All the metal residues, and only then could they go up the stairs. Everything you see here, everyone except for the mannequins obviously, is original. This is the staircase they used to go up. And this staircase, if we go up, we come out at the secret entrance to the laundry. And now I have a question for you. How long do you think it took to build all of this? The walls, the concrete ceiling, this floor. I want you to put it in the comments, guys. All of this here, bringing in the machinery, building the bakery, building the laundry. How long do you think it took to build all of this? The answer is going to surprise you because all of this was done in 21 days. They were really determined. They dug, they did everything in 21 days. And that's why they managed to do it in such a short period of time without any British inspection coming through here. After the place was ready, several inspections came through. How did they manage to hide all of this from the British? One day, a British inspection arrives. And they arrive and say, come with us. We want to welcome you properly. They took them to the dining hall in town and gave them beers. They said, look, this is our gift. Have some beers. They wanted to please the British so they wouldn't look too closely or search for anything suspicious. And in the end, the British look at the people here and say, we feel mistreated. We think you don't really want us here. And they say, but how? We gave you beer. We welcomed you. And they said, you gave us warm beer. I mean, you took it straight from storage to give us warm beer? What kind of treatment is that? And the people here from the community said, there's no problem at all. Do you want cold beer? Next time you come, let us know an hour in advance so we can put the beer in the fridge. And the British actually started doing that. Every time before visiting the city, before doing inspections, they would call ahead to let us know, hey, we're coming, put the beer in the fridge. And it was a good way for them to be prepared every time there was an inspection. And now we've arrived at the most dangerous place in the whole factory. Yes, more than the shooting range, more than the machines, this was the most dangerous place. This was the ammunition assembly line. They took everything that had been produced on the other side, and here they filled it with gunpowder and sealed it. They sealed each bullet by hand. Now, if you seal the bullet and don't press it tightly enough, the bullet won't fire later and it won't be effective for the war. But if you press too hard, you run the risk of it exploding. And since there were boxes of gunpowder around here, this whole area and the entire factory could explode, killing everyone who was here, and not just down here, but probably upstairs as well. Remember that there was a city up here? Besides the bakery, besides the laundry, 6 meters away from here was the kindergarten. And that's why the people who were allowed to work here were women, and preferably mothers, because it was known that a mother would never put her child at risk. And that's why they were chosen for such delicate work. And then finally, after all those steps, the bullets, the ammunition were ready. They were hidden inside milk cans with a false bottom and taken away to be stored, to be used in the future in the War of Independence. In my opinion, this is one of the most amazing stories of Israel and its independence. But unfortunately, this place is unknown around the world and still unknown to most Israelis as well. But this place was fundamental. This was the only ammunition factory in Israel until its independence. All the experts agree that if this place didn't exist, Israel wouldn't have won the war. A war that even so was very difficult, in which 1% of all the Jews in Israel died. Not 1% of the army, 1% of all of Israel. It's really impossible to measure how important these people were and how difficult their work was here. But thanks to them, between 1945 and 1948, production took place here. 5 million bullets. You heard that right? 5 million bullets made here by hand by these 45 young people. And not once was there an accident here, and not once were they discovered by the British. And because of that, I can consider this almost like a miracle. Thanks to these young men, we have the state of Israel today, because without them, maybe Israel wouldn't exist. And for sure, there wouldn't be Israel with Aline either. So this week, as Israel celebrates 75 years of independence, I want to give them all the credit they deserve, because many of them are still alive to tell their story, but probably not for much longer. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about the secrets of Mahon Ayalon. If you liked it, don't forget to share this video with your friends and leave a like. A big kiss, and I'll see you here next time.